Hey everybody, it's Dave, Blue Jacket 66 here for another video. I think this is going to be a relatively short one. I plan on doing 3 videos this week. This one, which is my Robert Edwards Auctions wins, 2 things, both test cards, one of food and beverage, regional test card, maybe we're both regional, but both right up my alley. One was kind of a surprise. I didn't expect to win it, and it's kind of it wasn't really on my first of my list of things I wanted to win, but I kind of got boxed into winning it, but I'm happy. The other one, I think maybe Wednesday, I'm going to do a really cool video, my favorite Mantle video. And then at the end of the week, I'll probably do a 500 subscriber, kind of just up to date on what's going on. A few people, I've got cards, but I don't know what your YouTube handle is, and that makes me a little bit anxious. I guess we'll talk a little bit about that. Some people have made videos and not sent stuff. That's okay. We'll get it all worked out. No, it's not going to be a big high-stress thing. So, okay, Robert Edwards auction. The first thing I won was a 1973 Pinups of Nolan Ryan. And I'm really excited about this because honestly, I'd never seen one before. I'm not sure I've even seen the issue before. So I don't pretend to be knowledgeable. I actually had to look up what are these things and decided to bid on it. Here's what Robert Edwards auction had to say about the, well, let's just show it first. Here's the 1973 Topps Pinups Nolan Ryan. To kind of get an idea of the size. And it's not really a card, look, it's actually a wrapper. And what they'd planned on doing is putting a piece of gum in here and then folding it around that, and what you would see is this Topps Pinups, and you wouldn't know what player was on the inside. And what's fantastic about this test issue, it's a test issue that was never released to the public. So, you know, most test issues, like this other one I'll show you, you know, were tested in a small demographic to see if they'd sell or whatnot. These were never, they were made but never released. Here's what Robert Edwards auction had to say about this card. I know it's boring for me to read, but it's kind of interesting to learn about this. And this is the first, when I read this, it's the first I'd even heard of this issue. But graded near mint 8 by PSA, one of only 6 examples graded this level with only 1 higher. And I've looked up on PSA, it looks like they've graded a total of 17 of these SGC nuns. There's 17 known graded. Superb high-grade example of Hall of Famer Nolan Ryan from one of the rarest and most fascinating Topps test issues, the 1973 Baseball Pinups Gum Test Set. This set was never distributed to the public, but was printed, and some of these pinups evidently were even packaged with gum but never released. The cards in the set are also the wrappers designed to wrap around the gum and to be sold that way. High quality photo, blah, blah, blah. Here it says, the 1973 Topps Pinups is one of the holy grails, rarities for many of the stars in the set. Ryan is one of the 14 Hall of Famers featured in the set. Bright, crisp, and perfectly clean front and back, ultra high grade. Anyway, so if you're a Ryan collector, it's likely you don't have one of these. Here's my vintage baseball cards. It's got every issue ever made up until 1980 in it. So what do they say? Another test issue of 1973, the 24 top pinups included the same basic format and checklist as the comics test issue of that same year. So there was Hank Aaron, Dick Allen, Johnny Bench, Steve Carlton, Nate Colbert, Willie Davis, Mike Epstein, Reggie Jackson, Harmon Killebrew, Lolich, Mike Marshall, Lee May, Willie McCovey, Bobby Mercer, Gaylord Perry, Pinella, Brooks Robinson, Nolan Ryan, George Scott, Tom Seaver, Stargell, Torrey, Billy Williams, and Yastrzemski. And anyway, it's ultra rare. There's, what, a handful of these even known. And this is the Ryan. The Ryan is the most prized of all of them. I'm not sure why, if it's the scarcest or it's because it's such an early issue of his, but it's the one to get out of this set. So I'll take some close-ups of that. The other thing I got was, and I did go for this because it's right up my alley. Have you seen my videos on my Hires root beer inserts that you put in the root beer? I've got Aaron, I've got a maize, and I've got a maize test issue. This is the 1952 Coca-Cola plain tips test card. This is the test issue that was released probably in a very small demographic to see whatever you see if people buy more Coca-Cola. For the test issue, they did a maize and they did Rizzuto, bunting, pitching, and fielding. These are exceedingly rare. I think that PSA has graded 10 and SGC 12. There's a lot of glare there. And here's about the size as it is to a card. And doesn't look like you could detach, it's an illustration. So there's no card, there's nothing to detach. On the back, just kind of a bio and his stats. So this was the test issue. And they went ahead and they made Coca-Cola plain tips that same year. And that set had Hank Bauer, Carl Furillo, Gil Hodges, Ed Lopat, Gil McDoulad, Don Mueller, Reese, two Bobby Thompsons, and a Westrom. So they didn't even do a maize in the regular issue, but they made them in the test issue. And these are rare. So kind of right up my alley. They're test issue. It's food and beverage, and obviously it's a test issue. It's probably released in some regional area. So this Ryan, in Robert Edwards auction, most auctions, what I do is I as soon as the auction comes out, over a period of several days to a week, I make my way through the catalog and I put in just kind of holding bids, just to bid on them, just to get a placer bid on, because the night it's closing, people really start bidding, and you have to have bids on cards, or you can't bid late. So I had a whole bunch of placer bids on a whole bunch of cards I wanted, and very, very late, maybe 2 days before the auction, I saw this and I thought, wow, that is incredibly rare, and I have never even heard of this set, let alone seen it. So I put in a bid, and by then the bid was freaking high, and I won it. And because no one outbid me throughout the night, it really blocked me out of some other cards that I wanted, and I could have got cheaper. The T213 coupon Ty Cobb, Type 3. Anyway, a couple other things that would I rather had than this. I'll just be happy I have this, because this is cool, and not many people have this. So we'll look at this a little closer, just kind of check it out. The 1973 Topps Pinups test issue of Nolan Ryan and a PSA 8, and the 1952, which I love this shit, Coca-Cola test issue, plain tips that has the Giants at home schedule on them, a cool image of Willie Mays, and they just plop that down in the six-pack bottles of Coke, just as a schedule and a cool thing to have. So we'll look at these a little closer, and remember, I got a couple more videos coming this week. Here's my messy desk. I got all this going out. Here's some of the cards that have come in for 4th place in the contest, but we'll get to that. So here it is. I know there's gonna be glare, but it's essentially a beautiful image, crisp, clear wrapper. And this would, what you'd see on the outside wrapped around it, it'd just be a piece of gum with Ryan on the inside, and this all wrapped around it. But they never even released the test issue. That's the Robert Edwards auction. I just cut it out. That's the description. And here's the Willie Mays. A lot of glare here, sorry. SGC 4. A lot of, you know, corner wear. There's no creases or bad stains. Let's see the schedule. It says collect all 11 big league playing cards. I think they ultimately made more than 11, right? Didn't I read off more than 11 names? 16 or so. So there it is. That's the 1952 Coca-Cola Plain Tips test issue of Willie Mays. And there's only about 20 known of these, at least graded. So pretty cool. Okay, I'll talk to you later on in the week.